Eli, big news in NBA land. Anthony Davis, he finally got traded. We just made a video the other day talking about whether he should go to LA, whether he should go to Boston. How much would you give up for him? Well, it's a done deal, and we now know that it's going to be, AD for a whole bunch of players and 3 picks. Everybody kind of knows the summary of the deal. Who won the trade?
So I'll start it out here. I think the Pelicans won the trade. I think it's very close, and depending on how this next season results and the future results, like next 3 years, I think the Pelicans won. So what do you think?
I think that it's probably a win-win deal.
Okay.
The Lakers, basically, both teams were forced into this trade. Neither of them had a choice. The Lakers have to make a move because you've got LeBron. You've got a limited window in his prime here where you can try to put something together. And the Pelicans, their hand was forced because Anthony Davis wanted out. So, that said, boy, did they give up a lot to get him.
Yeah.
Now, we were saying, and maybe it was because we were hating on the Lakers' prospects a little bit, but we were saying the other day that we probably wouldn't pull the trigger on a package that just had something like Lonzo and Ingram in it. Give me Kuzma. We don't get that excited about Ingram. Now, you throw in Josh Hart. Okay. You throw in the 4. Okay. Now I'm really listening. Now you're going to throw in 2 more first-round picks. Now, I don't know. The trade was just announced, and I don't have the details on exactly what those picks are, and you can't, trade picks in consecutive years. So it's probably going to be something that's going to stretch over a long period of time. I mean, this is the type of trade that can set your franchise up for the next 10 years.
Yep.
You get a number 4 pick in this year's draft. You get a pick in, maybe it's in, not the following year, but the next year after that. 2022.
22.
The 19, and then
21.
you get to say the 21.
23.
And I'm not sure exactly how that rule reads, but yeah, and then maybe you get the 23. That's a pretty good haul. We'll talk in another video about exactly how we think all these pieces fit, but one last point I want to make. This trade can go horribly wrong for the Lakers. I think it can, because you give up, a guy in Lonzo that you drafted at 2, a guy in Ingram, where'd they draft him, 2 or 3, I think, overall. You give up a guy who's in Hart, who I think is a nice, solid role player. You're giving up a number 4. Who knows what these picks are going to look like in the future. If LeBron and Davis stay around, they're probably going to be not very valuable. That said, that's a really big haul. You've mortgaged away your future, and now you have a roster that looks like, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Wagner, Moritz Wagner. Then there's not much else on that roster. You got a whole bunch of cap holds that represent guys like Lance Stevenson. You got to put it together, and you got to find a way to fill out this roster. Now, if Anthony Davis gets hurt, he's had injury problems in the past. You're looking at the same thing you had last year, except you got rid of all your prospects.
Yeah.
You're
not growing.
You're one knee injury away from an absolute disaster. And you got to find enough depth to make a playoff run. Now, I don't think that this trade can go that wrong for the Pelicans. One, you had to get rid of him, sort of like when Kyrie forced his way out of Cleveland. You got a whole slew of draft picks. Well, maybe you like Ingram. I don't really love him, but he's a fine player. I think Lonzo has potential to maybe be an all-star, but I don't think it can go that wrong for the Pelicans. What do you think?
For the Pelicans, I think this goes perfectly. This could have been one of the best trades, but obviously Boston, if you were able to get Jason Tatum plus Jaylen Brown plus Marcus Smart plus maybe a couple picks in there, that would have been a better trade in my opinion. But as you see, the Celtics, they weren't giving up Jason Tatum, so that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have done that trade. So going into this, I think Ingram, I don't think highly of. I haven't seen much from him. He's all right. Josh Hart, as you said, great role player. I think the same thing. Lonzo Ball, I think he has a lot of potential, but he's also had a couple injury problems. So he needs to get past that and then grind through that and go to his potential. Along with that, they have number 1 pick, which should be Zion. Number 4 pick, which could be anyone at this point. Also, Julius Randle, who I think is a really solid player. Is he starting? I mean, with Zion coming in, probably not. Depends.
Yeah, they may have similar roles. I mean, Zion can kind of do it all, but they're both big, tough guys that probably play the 4.
Yeah. And then you also have Drew Holiday there already. I mean, Lonzo and Drew Holiday, a backcourt, that's a pretty solid backcourt defensively. And Drew Holiday has proven to lock up the best at Steph Curry. He's
one of the best defenders in the league at the point guard position.
So I think they've done really well to get all of that stuff, plus those 3 draft picks. They've done amazingly, I think.
Okay, so I mean, if we're going to do a semi-hot take, or at least give I don't want to give too much of a gray answer here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say I think New Orleans wins this trade.
Okay.
Just because it's just such a massive haul. With the caveat, put a little asterisk next to it. If Pelinka can pull some strings and put a bunch of players next to LA and they win titles for the next few years, then sure. That's how history judges you, is how many championships you win. And you do have to overpay to get a superstar like Anthony Davis. But I'm going to go on record and say I think that the Pelicans won the trade.
I agree. Pelicans would win that trade.
All right.